Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. A quick video where I'm going to be answering your questions. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. It's Sunday and it's time for our weekly Q&A video, and these questions have all been put forward by our community either through Patreon or through our YouTube membership. So let's jump into the first one. Joseph asked on Patreon, how come they are not putting Black Widow on Disney Plus Premium Access when Mulan did so well? As I live in the UK with how everything is going with the pandemic, cinemas are struggling. Could Black Widow still go to premium access if cinemas remain to struggle with the effects of this pandemic? As far as bringing Black Widow to Disney Plus as a premium access, I think the fact that Disney have already moved it on to the next release date in May, it says that they don't want to roll the dice on Black Widow. They obviously feel there's too much money to be made by releasing it at cinemas, and they just want to hold off. Can't say I blame them if they think Black Widow is going to pull in a lot of money. They might not want to do it, and I think Mulan has they've not been open about how well it's done, which is never a good sign. Usually when something does really well, Disney are very quick to put it out there. Hopefully we'll find out the numbers soon enough. Now, whether or not they take a roll with the dice on Soul, they might be kind of continuing on with that trend of waiting and seeing how the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks before they eventually maybe push the button. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that one did the same thing, where they maybe tried it out, maybe at a lower price model, but we don't really know how it's gone down. And personally, to me, I think Black Widow was just too big a movie. It was just too much of a risk, and they don't want to put out a movie and it just pulls in. I think a lot of people would have paid for it, but I think that $29.99 price point for Black Widow would have been very high, because I don't necessarily view it as a family movie. I think more people would have gone and seen it on their own or as couples. While it is a Marvel movie and families will go see it, Mulan was going to be much more likely to do it. I also think as well there's been so much other issues with Mulan that you can't just put it down to Premier Access. There's been so many other issues. But whether or not they do the roll the dice with Soul, I don't know. That we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, Black Widow is way out the territory now, where they've pushed that one back to May. They're holding on to that one. Joseph also asked, I've got STARZPLAY app and noticed it has ABC, Fox, Hulu and FX content. Could STARZPLAY be rebranded as the Star app, or could they merge or bundle it like they have in the US? Now, STARZPLAY, or Stars in the US, it is completely owned by Lionsgate. It's not actually owned by Disney at all. I think right now you've got to be looking at the content, because there's tons of content available. You've got like High Fidelity, there's loads of shows here in the UK on STARZPLAY, and the reason for that is probably there's just short-term contracts, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. They maybe weren't offering more money than, BBC or Sky, or they just want to do that short deal until Star is available to go. I don't think Star is a great brand for the UK at all because of this Star app that's already existing. Hotstar, I really not so keen on the Star branding at all. I don't think it's worth anything in the UK. I think it's already diluted. So it's not really a case of can they rebrand it. It's not even there. This has got nothing to do with it. It is just purely short-term licensing just to get some extra cash, especially right now with the pandemic. They probably looked at their catalog and went, let's lease this stuff out short-term, get some money in, especially right now, and that's it. There isn't really any connection. It's just a short-term deal. What's on Netflix asked on Patreon, what do you think are the renewal chances of some of the smaller docu-series are? Disney have generally been quite open about what they've renewed. There's a lot of shows that we've already got, like The World According to Jeff Goldblum. We know we're going to be getting second seasons of that. As far as the other ones, I think it's going to come down to the kind of the ratings on them and how many people downloaded them. I think the Imagineering story, I would hope that that's definitely got legs for a second series or something similar to it, because a lot of people are watching it, but we don't really know what the stats are. I think some of these other ones they've been doing, I'm really hoping Prop Culture gets a second run, because I think that's such an amazing series for Disney Plus and exactly what they need. And they've got such an archive and so many things. I'm hoping that on there is it. But as far as renewal chances, I don't know. I think right at the minute, everything's going to be up in the air. They are looking for established stuff, but who knows? I think something like the Animal Kingdom show, more likely to be, because it seems to have had a good hit on that first episode going into the top 10 of the trending, and it's interconnected with the parks, so it's a bit of cross synergy. But yeah, I don't know. I think some of those ones, it's like, was it the Marvel one that we saw at the beginning of last year, and it ran for like 20 seasons, Marvel Hero Project. It's a nice maybe vanity project for them, but Whether or not actually people ever watched it, I don't know. No one really talked about it much at all. Something like that, I don't know if they'll bring that one back. But I think that was just more Marvel filler when they didn't have the Marvel TV series. I think once we start getting them, they won't really need them. You know, then they moved storyboards off to YouTube, and now we've got this new 616 show. I don't know, it's very strange what they're doing. They don't seem to have a huge amount of faith in it. But documentaries just aren't hitting it right on Disney Plus, I don't think. And there's a lot of National Geographic stuff, and the amount of people that don't really like that on there is very high. And I don't know, documentaries is a really weird one. Jacob also asked, based on my experience, is it harder to find what you are looking for in the Disney and National Geographic buttons compared to some of the others? Because of how much content these brands have, I'd love to see some sub areas in them, such as classic Disney, Disney animation, live action, Disney Channel, Disney Junior, or another way of better organize these areas. What are your thoughts? Now, I think you are completely right. I think it's a good idea for Disney kind of expand out that area, maybe add some more of the branding things, maybe when they've got 20th Century Studios and ABC, that could help stretch things out a little bit. Maybe add like Touchstone and just kind of move some of those movies out. Things like Three Men and a Baby, you know, you're not necessarily going to look in the Disney section. I don't think, you know, especially if you're looking for the 20th century movies, you're not going to think, oh, they're in there. It does seem really big. Hopefully we can see more collections being added and more areas, but I do think they need to be a little bit better movement around of what they're doing. And I completely agree. As far as National Geographic, that area is going to continue to grow. So how they can expand that area, I think once you go in there and then you need, like say, sub pages, you know, like animals, history, and kind of jump into that. But yeah, a lot more searchability is always good, but also just simple navigations, more menus. It's tricky. They've got to kind of get it right. But the trouble is, if they keep putting the same things on the front screen all the time, the big popular ones, you're not going to find some of those hidden gems. So yeah, I do think they do need to do something. Jacob also asked, do you think shows produced by Sony Television, which are long running on ABC, such as The Goldbergs, could possibly have their streaming rights brought by Disney, especially since Sony doesn't look like they're going to start their own streaming service? Oh, completely. I think any show that Sony has and is available for sort of hire, I could see Disney trying to go for it. Things like The Goldbergs, I really like that show. I think that one's great. Growing up as a kid in the 80s, I think that one would be perfect on Disney Plus. I think they just got to try and find what they want with this within Hulu. They're going to kind of get that line right. It's all over the place right now. I'm trying to work out what they're doing. You know, we've had some movies drop on, then they're going, okay, that's not what you normally would do, but they've also going to have to appeal to more adult viewers. So I do think shows like Goldberg, but then you're going to start taking away from Hulu or Star or whatever they're going to do with that thing. But yeah, anything like that I think is perfectly up for grabs if Disney are willing to pay for it. However, once you start getting into some bidding wars, you've then got Amazon and Netflix and everybody else going in there. But yeah, so it's all going to be down to the individual contracts for them to work out what they can do. I Got No Name on YouTube asked, could Disney Plus ever put Avengers Endgame in the original IMAX ratio, just like with The Simpsons? I don't think there's a reason why they couldn't, but the trouble is with IMAX content, obviously you can't watch it as well as at home. If they've got it in 4K, I mean, hopefully they would maybe look at it, but it's all going to come down to if they think people are actually going to watch it or not. Personally, I just like the 4K stuff on my TV, but I like it with the IMAX style on some of the movies that you watch, where it then goes to your full screen, so it's not widescreen, so you get the full effect. Hopefully they'll do it. It's all going to come down to whether or not they think it's worth the bother and how many people are going to do it. But yeah, I don't know. So there we go. That is this week's Q&A. And remember, you can ask these questions if you join either on Patreon or on the YouTube membership. And we do these each week and we get to answer your questions. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys are looking forward to seeing on Disney Plus in the week ahead. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.